events were further worsened by galloping inflation, which saw the value of Naira plummet to dismal level against the major currency of the world. The result have been general disillusionment, as hunger and poverty in the land has gotten to an all-time high. To be brutally frank, these are not the best time for Nigeria. Anyone who was privileged among us to see the euphoria that greeted Nigeria when Nigeria had its independence in 1960 would cringe at the hopelessness of Nigeria 62 years on. Yet there were times that Nigeria held great promise as the giant of Africa, as the pride of black race. We had economic boom in years before now. We did well in our oil palm, the granite pyramid in the north, and etc. This formed the pivot upon which our revenue and export rested. In those years, our refinery worked, our industry worked, our hospital worked. The standard in the educational system was so high that Nigerians were so good as compared to their contemporaries anywhere in the world. As a matter of fact, in those days, it was a taboo for Nigerians to walk on the street without a job. The Nigerian Naira was respected worldwide because it compared favorably with other currency of the world. The economy in Nigeria was so good that nationals of other countries loved to stay, work, and be educated here. We all know that Nigeria hosted Festac 77, and we also staged the All-African Game to commemorate a beautiful stadium built in Surulere, Lagos, to organize an event in 1973. We had assembly plants for cars, engines, and vehicles, with Volkswagen and Peugeot having plants in Lagos and Kaduna. It was so easy for Nigerians to own cars because they were affordable. The fatness of our pulse as a nation encouraged our grandeur plans to exhibit projects within and outside Nigeria. Our origin of expensive peacekeeping mission was because we had so much as a country. We invested in industrialization as a country and wholesale adoption in the American presidential system of democracy. No doubt, this all was traced to the Blossom era. I can go on and on, reminiscing on the good times that Nigeria had. I can go on and on, romanticizing on what we today refer to as past tense. But we cannot wish today's reality away, because Nigeria of the present, yes, is far removed from Nigerians of the past. But the job of recapturing that era should not be a lost hope. There is hope, and there is the will to make a change. As it is often said, where there is a will, there is a way. The year 2023 is not just a year we will all look, but it's a year we must begin to think of changing the status quo. It is the year for us to change the narrative of inept and directionless leadership. It is a year we must deliberately come together as one to resolve to change and ensure that we have leaders with capacity, vigor in all levels of our leadership, from House of Representatives to State House of Assembly to governors. It's a year we must be conscious to vote out old and inspired leaders and pave way for younger generation of leaders to prepare us for the next millennium. This is a year we must resolve to take our destiny in our hands by choosing right and voting right. If we must follow the principle of not expecting different results by doing the same thing, then we must resolve as a nation to do things differently in order for us to have different output. This new year, we must resolve not to fall for temptation of voting along religious or ethnic line. We must be seen to vote for Nigerians that we are convinced that has the capacity to deliver their pre-election promises rather than mere sentimental reasons. In this new year, we must shun desperate politicians who will offer us money to buy our conscience, therefore selling our conscience. We must reject the monetary gratification of today's and endure for benefits which lies ahead. We must not sell our votes as our people. My name is Professor Christopher Emumolen. I'm contesting for the President of Nigeria on the platform of Accord in this year's general election. My fellow Nigerians, I present myself to you as the man who is capable, who is humane to deliver Nigerians his promises. With my experience in the private and public sector, I present to Nigeria hope where there is hopelessness. I present to Nigeria succor where we've had pains and sadness. I present to Nigeria rejuvenation where we have lost direction. I present to Nigeria hope in every area of our sector. As the youngest Nigeria in this particular election, I represent the new generation of today and the future who is ready to change the status quo. I will be 40 this year, and I want to be given the opportunity to serve Nigeria in my youthful age. 4 of my co-aspirants, please can I have another mic, please? 4 of my co-aspirants who is in the race with me served in various capacities when they were 40s. Tinubu served as governors of Lagos between 1999 and 2000 in his 40s. Kwankwaso in Kano served in his 40s. Atiku, we are told, retired from the custom as Deputy Custom General of the custom when he was 43 years. There is something magical about the age 40. This is the time a leader is at the peak of his power, the time he has all presence of mind and can give all for the redemption of his people. I'm at the verge of reaching the magical age of 40. I will be available to serve my people and leave a mark of quality leadership. This is the time I should be allowed to serve this nation with my youthful strength. God willing, by the time I'll be leaving the office at the age of 48, I should be leaving behind a better and more prosperous nation. A nation with 24 hours electricity, a country where insecurity would have been a thing of the past, a country that will experience peace and prosperity, a country where the strike by academic staff union of ASU, union of students, would have been a thing of the past, a country where Nigerians would prefer to stay and work in our country rather than travel to far-flung country in search of better life, a country where all the different nationalities will find it easy to live together because a new era of all-inclusive governance has been ushered in. A country where our youth will find positive avenue for expression because a new avenue has been created for them to excel in their field of endeavor. A country where the welfare of a citizen will no longer be treated with levity. A country where insecurity will no longer have its foothold as it presently we have. A country where we would ensure there is transparency and accountability, where the concept of sacred cow and impunity will not be allowed a leeway because we would have activated a true democracy for the judiciary system. A country where the official red tape and bureaucracy in the civil servant would have been totally disappeared because we would have created a digital system to drive the civil service reform. A country where the traditional rulers would have a more role to play in governance because they form the grassroots support system in a growing democracy like ours. A country where our hospitals, clinic, and dispensary system will no longer be mere consulting facilities, but a place where Nigerians can get cured of their disease. A country where education will be made compulsory from primary to secondary. A country where those who have worked hard to positively project the image of our country will be recognized, fitted, and adequately rewarded. A country where we all will be proud that we are one. Our commitment to Nigerian projects transcend mere wish or with rhetorics. Our service to serve has been demonstrated in what we have done in our private sector, long before we took up the dream to use politics as a vehicle to impact in life. We have been known to invest heavily in human capital development by awarding scholarship to Nigerians, indigents, and students all over the country. At the last count, over 500,000 Nigerians have benefited from our scholarship scheme. We have bankrolled the award of loans and grants to Nigerians and SMEs all over Nigeria. We have contributed meaningfully well to the country's economic development. We have built roads, installed transformers in community, provide power supply, and as well as sunk boreholes to help solve pipe-borne water problems in Nigeria. The success of this private initiative has since fired our belief that when we are given the opportunity to become the president in this year's general election, we will do very well. I want to assure all Nigerians that the zeal with which we have done so well privately will become the pivot that will drive us to rescue Nigeria from the present economic quagmire come 2023. The problem of power, for example, has been with us like forever, despite the millions, billions of naira pumped into the sector 20 years after Nigeria returned to democratic system. The power problem has remained an interactive problem. It's one of the sectors that my government will declare emergency, as we will find a lasting solution, just as we'll be seeking way to increase our power generation for the mere 4,000 megawatt to 100,000 megawatt, the required amount required by the 45 million households in Nigeria. We shall also be exploring alternative energy source. We shall unbundle the National Electric Regulatory Commission, NERC, in a bid to liberalize the sector and make it more responsive to our collective power needs. In education, education is the key to illuminating the mind of your people. Therefore, an uneducated people is in darkness. Any country that wants speedy development must make education its priority. This is why we will be paying serious attention to the country's education in order to upgrade it to the level it can become the tool of enlightenment and self-realization that is meant to be. Recent findings shows that there are about 20 million out-of-school children. Without vigorous policy aimed at addressing this ugly trend, the country will lose the battle to illiteracy. We shall increase the present 7.4% yearly budget to education to 20%, just as we are going to make education also compulsory for Nigerians that are of age. We are going to review the current curriculum, which is tailored towards theory, and begin to have a curriculum that will solve our national problems. My government will reintroduce the bursary award system and ensure that our students study without so much challenge. We shall make the provision of adequate welfare of teachers and lecturers our topmost priority. According to available statistics, we have about 54,000 abandoned projects. Some of them are very viable, in which, if worked upon and fully worked upon, would provide source of livelihood for Nigeria. We are going to ensure that we focus in making sure that all abandoned projects are fixed. My government will leave no stone unturned, as we shall vigorously fix the projects scattered all over Nigeria and make it ready to contribute to the nation's growth. Our porous border. Our heightened insecurity challenge over the last 4 years owed its origin to unchecked foreigners' influx into the country. There are at least 1,400 illegal routes into Nigeria with insufficient manpower to man them. We must begin to man all the illegal entry points into Nigeria if truly we want to have a secure country. No wonder the case of banditry and kidnapping has gotten to the highest point. My government will not only be ensuring that the cross-border are effectively manned, but we shall also use technology to fight the insecurity menace. The poor health delivery system is the reason why many Nigerians troop out of Nigeria to seek for foreign help. It is bad enough that our hospital now look like consulting facilities. But the recent fact that Nigerians physicians have been migrating to foreign lands in search of better working conditions is as disturbing as it is a threat to the continuous existing of a viral health system. My government will be taking a drastic step to ensure that the medical sector is totally overhauled. Apart from maintaining the existing structure, we shall ensure that we encourage private investment into the health system and stimulate competition. Let's look at the issue of social welfare. As a country, we have not been known to pay adequate attention to social welfare of our citizens. My government will reverse this term by establishing a very formidable social welfare scheme that will take care of the old, people with disabilities, unemployed, widows among us. It will go a long way in dousing the tension which usually emanates from lack or want. Let's look at infrastructure. A country developmental index is usually measured by the quality of its infrastructure. My government will do all in its power to ensure that we improve on the infrastructure, we build more road and maintain existing one to stimulate economic activities and ensure a free movement across the country. Corruption, for example, is the reason why Nigeria has largely failed to meet up with our potential as a nation. We believe that using technology to fight corruption and economizing and providing systemic economy, it will discourage corruption and sharp practice to a large extent. We are going to have monitoring mechanism that will act as check on the Nigerian system. Our agenda and plan is by no means exhaustible. We cannot capture all our plan in one speech, but suffice it to say that we are moved by the desire to change the narrative of bad leadership, a dysfunctional system that encourages corruption in all our field. We must begin to redirect Nigeria into the path of prosperity. We come to you after you have seen how the country has been badly run. Now you know what is best for us. Because we have not, as people, gotten our privileges and our rights as a bona fide citizen of our nation. We must begin to embrace a new approach. We offer ourselves to you as a fresh and the alternative to building a lasting country. With what has happened to us all in the last 8 years, in no doubt, you know you will be no doubt a better off to choose a leader that is not part of those that have caused the problem we currently have in our nation. By choosing Professor Christopher Emomolen of the Accord Party, you'll be choosing the right choice that will offer you and your family a better day. Present ourselves to you as we enter into a new year. Choose right, vote right. I pray that this year we'll all be wiser to elect leaders whose manifesto would manifest positive things into our life. Once again, God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. God bless you. Happy New Year. Thank you so much.
Wow. What a speech. What a speech. What can you say to that speech? Wow. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Everyone have a seat, sir.
Thank you so much.
That's the youngest candidate contesting for the presidency in Nigeria. Thank you, sir.
Alright, so we're going to be going to a very important segment. And that's the
Question
question
and answer.
and answer segment. And we have top media personalities that are here. They're going to be asking Professor Christopher question. Please, we appeal that the question should be brief because we are on live TV and we don't have all the time.
Summarize it all, we want you to just go straight to the point. If you want to call cats, please don't say that in a meow before you say cats. Just say cats. Let the spade be a spade. Thank you.
Okay, so if you have, we're going to start with the media people here. And we have amazing media personality here. So if you have some questions, please
Have any question, can you signal by raising your hands up if you have any question?
We have channels here, we have TVs here,
We have
here.
the Night TV.
TV.
We also have SciFM. We have Pulse NG. We also have Instablog here. And many others. Many social media houses. Do we have any media personality?
I can see
that have a question?
someone hand up.
Can we see your hand up, please?
Okay, please, I will just go to you, and as you ask, we will need you to introduce yourself. Would you mind coming here and you just ask the question? Yourself. So please, let's have Christopher on podium again. So please, can you just please, Christopher, please.
Okay, please, you can get the mic. So thank you for that question. Let me quickly answer the question. Again, my name is Professor Christopher Mumalen, Accord Party presidential candidate. And during the speech, I was a little bit tensed. I think I'm kind of okay now. So quickly, I am the only youth in the race. And during my speech, I said that we have four other candidates who today many of us refer them to as maybe the us in the race. We're talking about Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, like I said in my speech. He retired from the custom at 43. That was a peak. We had the Tinubu, who is also in the race. He was governor in Lagos from 1999 to 2007 at his 40s. We also have Obi, who was the governor in Anambra, and Kwankwaso. They were all governors in their 40s. And I said there's something magical about the age 40. That is why countries like Canada, Grenada, UK, France, what they've done is to ensure that over 50% of persons around the political space are within the age of 40s to 50. Presidents are even at 36, 39. And the truth is, they have done very well in managing the country. Nigerians must begin to understand that we need presidents who is at the peak of their career, not one who is already declining. At this age, we have the mandate to recover back Nigeria to where it ought to be. Where do we need to be? Nigeria with a huge population of 200 million plus, has 133 million of that population living below poverty. We need a leader that can aggressively and quickly take us out of poverty, who can provide jobs, who can use technology, and who can use his personal experience to teach the Nigerian youths how to also prosper. The second question, how did I build a career 4 years after school? That is the self-determination, self-actualization that Nigerian youth need to begin to see that there are opportunities in Nigeria. As one person, I've set up organizations that have trained a lot of people, who has made a lot of people millionaires. I have become a role model to a lot of Nigerian youth, not by bragging about what I've done in government. I'm talking about what I've done privately. I want to become that motivation to the 70%, 60% Nigerian youths, women. A lot of Nigerians need motivation. Today is a new year. Nigerians are making their New Year resolution. And like I said, one of the things we must do as a country is to begin to resolve to choose the right leader. I represent that new alternative, that fresh idea. I've not been in politics, and I also have the belief that the man that will transform our country is that one man who is going to work with a lot of team of people, but most especially who is not affiliated to the sets of those that have caused the problem we currently find ourselves. That is the truth. We must change the system if we must move forward. We must begin to elect new people, not just at the level of presidency alone, even for governors, House of Assembly, House of Rep, Senate. That is what Accord Party represents, and that alternative is what we want to present to Nigeria. Thank you.
I was hoping for specifics as to how, 4 years for a lot of people is a short time. So you started a career in 2005. By 2009, if I'm correct, you started an educational institution. So did you hit some big money? Did you have someone sponsor you? Because a lot of Nigerian youths still have challenges. They wouldn't pay their rents, trying to pay for their bills. So what was different for you? Maybe Nigerians can see themselves in you that way.
Okay, let me answer that specifically. Let's look at Nigeria as a country. We currently have, every year, more than 1 million people. Let me just open your eyes to see an opportunity. If, for example, you want to go into business. We have more than 1 million people write JAMB. And the university system, both private and public, can only absorb less than 300,000. It means that there is huge market in that field, because there's still a lot of people who, after every year, do not have access. And I can tell you that a country like Ghana, for example, makes over $1 billion yearly from Nigerians that migrate to Ghana to study. We have over 60,000 Nigerians in the UK studying, in the US, in Turkey. So that means that if you set up a viable business in the educational sector that will be willing to provide Nigerians this service, and you do it right, you will make it. So we need those statistics. We need to understand that. For example, we have a colleague who sold just a single app to Apple for $1 billion. He developed the app. He discovered that New York was not properly navigated with Google Map, and he developed Hoopstop. He's a Nigerian. He's in his 30s. His name is Chinedu Echoron. And he sold a app for $1 billion. That can happen in 1 year, not even 4 years. So it's a matter of the knowledge, opportunity, and solving problems that are identified. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Okay. Quickly, the question is, if voted, how do I stop the level of hunger and hardship? The economic hardship is at its apex, and the cause of economic hardship is multifaceted. There's so many reasons why a country will plunged into poverty. Today, Nigeria is maybe the leading poverty capital of the world. One of the major reasons is opportunities. Nigerian youths do not have opportunities for a job. Nigerian youths are not properly educated. We need to reform our educational system. As you all know, I'm a professor at 39. I believe so much in education. I've provided Nigeria with educational privileges. I'm probably one out of all the candidates who has given more scholarships to Nigeria privately. You can go and verify. We have done that privately without making any noise. So we must begin to invest in human capital development. Invest in Nigerians themselves is very key. Secondly, we must begin to look at our policies and begin to reframe them. Like I said, by what the law permits, one of the very first things we'll be doing is to make sure that we begin to give orders that we provide jobs. I mentioned that we have over 54,000 abandoned projects. Do you know how many employment that we give to Nigeria? I mentioned that as a country, we don't even have food reserve. Europe as a country currently is going through recession in food, but yet there's still food because they've been able to reserve food. We are going to set up what is called the food rangers. I'll go deep into that later to ensure that Nigerians provide food. We would be subsidizing food because we are going to stop subsidy for oil and gas. I mentioned that in my speech by ensuring that we begin to give license for low, small-scale refinery. It's not even about modular refinery. For us to stop subsidy in the oil and gas, we must encourage local production of our crude oil into its final products. We understand what is happening in that sector. Nigerians will not go to bed hungry because when a man has not conquered hunger, he can never think of self-actualization. We are still at the level of wanting to conquer hunger. We must get beyond that. So there's a lot of things we'll be doing. And if you check our manifesto, we have all this listed. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Hope you're satisfied. We don't have much time on our side. Please give an opportunity to somebody else. We have someone from channels, and we also have someone from MITV that will ask a question. Okay, go ahead, sir.
Professor, I remember my very sagacious self, Honorable Omorogbe Joseph, and I am speaking as a party man. I want to thank everybody here and say good evening, everyone. My question is this. As a party man, and I know by the grace of God with what we are seeing you do, we are persuaded that you are there. If eventually what are your hopes? Or what are you going to do? I'm talking to both of you. The vice presidential candidate of our great party Accord and the presidential candidate of the party Accord. What are your plans for the party leaders? It is very, very sacrosanct. How do you intend to carry the party leaders of this great party along? Because as a party man, I don't want anything to die here. So what are your plans? What are your intentions? And what are those things that you are going to do so that party leaders will be carried along adequately? That is just the question I'm asking. Thank you very much and God bless you.
Okay. Yes. Party is a vehicle upon which every individual must use to achieve your political dream. But according to our constitution, Nigeria is our country, and we all identify ourselves with various parties. But eventually, when we win for Nigeria. It means then that every party must be brought together to work for the betterment of our country. You know, the age whereby a particular candidate from a party wins and the other party will become rebellious is because we need to begin to run leadership with wisdom, and we need to begin to have an all-inclusive style of leadership. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
First, I want to usually thank the President for one thing, for ascending to the new Electoral Act. That by itself has given opportunity to candidates who believe they can work from the grassroots and win election because of the new inputs we now have with the electronic voting system. We want to repose confidence, we want to have confidence in the INEC that the right thing will be done. So first, I'm not the only one contesting on the platform of Accord. We have other members. Our first strategy is to ensure that we also ensure that most of our members who are contesting alongside with us get to win and also be part of our government. It's very key. In that way, we also have a voice, especially when it comes to making decisions. Secondly, everybody wants good things. What you have just said now is the mathematics. Yes, but Nigerians are tired. Even those in the House of Rep, senators are also tired. Everybody wants a better life. Once a leader presents to Nigeria a mandate of the people, these people also represent people. Believe me, they will work with us. They will work with us because we are not going to run a one-man show. Yes, we will make sure that with what has happened, Nigerians are tired of what is happening. Everybody wants a change. Imagine if we don't change this country, what will happen in the next 8 years? We begin to run a government that represents the people. We begin to ensure that our policies is geared towards uplifting the people. It's the people. When the people speaks, every representation of the people will succumb to the wish of the people. That is what we stand for. Thank you. So let me delegate that question. Yes, to my incoming Vice President, by the grace of God.
Thank you, Mr. President. Yes, what you have said is that how an Accord administration is going to promote SMEs so that they continue to employ labor. Our manifesto has answered that question because the focus of that manifesto is to prepare Nigeria for industrial takeoff. And the industrial takeoff is going to be based on entrepreneurship. The existing entrepreneurship will be encouraged to develop so that they also become bigger companies. And that is why we are going to give priority to education, to human capital development, so that by the time Nigerians become well educated, they will be able to transform from startups, which are mostly the SMEs, to fully developed manufacturing companies by providing loans to them as well as other forms of support. So an Accord government will fund both skill development, talent development, as well as entrepreneurship.
So to quickly add on to what he had said, first, I believe that government should not be in the business of doing business. Government should solely ensure that it creates huge enabling environment for private sectors to strive. So we are going to be rejigging a lot of policies that we have. We are going to be investing in power, a nation without power, electricity, cannot be industrialized. Today, we are in the 4th industrial revolution, but Nigeria is still in the 1st industrial revolution because we've not been able to create electricity for our people. We must ensure that we quickly increase our capacity for electricity so that the 45 million households we have in Nigeria are serviced. Secondly, we'll become the first government that will create a ministry called the Family Commission. Family Commission will be centered at empowering business line through family line. Because when you empower a family, you have empowered an economy and you empower a country. We'll be using the model of China, what China have used today to industrialize China, by empowering families, identify business opportunities in various locations to ensure that Nigeria become a production country. Once you're able to achieve that, believe me, we would have supported SMEs. Secondly, financial reform. We must begin to database Nigeria. We need data as an economy. We are going to create a data economy. Once you have a data economy, you can run a credit system. Nigeria needs to begin to have access to credit. Believe me, when you don't have funds, you cannot run business. Other countries you've called, the Apple and the rest of them, I know and I understand how much support they receive from their government. One of the biggest challenges with the financial institution is data, is information. Look at the title of our manifesto. It said, preparing Nigeria for the industrial revolution, the 4th industrial revolution. That is what we are going to be doing. Once we begin to do this, add on to human capital development. No matter what you do, if the man who is supposed to deliver the development is not trained, if his mind is not reformed and transformed, nothing can happen. So we are going to be paying so much attention to ensuring that we lift SME to becoming the world largest. Nigeria is a population of 200 million people. We have the biggest market. We just need to encourage our SMEs. And believe me, we will take over the African market. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Just one more question, and we'll let you go, sir. All right, we have 2 minutes. We have another person in the crowd. Okay, we have MITV.
Good evening, sir. I just want to know something. My question is on women. What opportunities will women have when you become the president of this country, including when you are arranging your cabinet and all? We just want to know the opportunities women have.
Okay. Quickly, yes. Women issues affect me personally. Why? Because if you check my personal story, you understand that I lost my father when I was 12, and my mother was a widow at 38. So I know how women, I understand it because I grew up with a woman, a mother who never had a support until we grew up. And again, because I'm coming from the educational sector, where you cannot survive except you have 60% women inclusion. Women naturally nurtures. Women naturally have patience to grow. So I understand the impact on women in economic development. So it's not a matter of national decision. Personally, our government will not just form a 40% women consideration, but we give more opportunities for women to excel. We are going to have special intervention for women because we understand if you empower a woman, you have empowered a nation. And I'm not saying this out of politics. I am the president of Unique Foundation, and what we have dwelt on for many years in Unique Foundation has been women empowerment. Privately, have been so concerned about empowering women, and again, we will continue doing that when we are given the opportunity to govern this country.
Thank you very much, sir. Last one for tonight. Last question for tonight. Make it brief, sir.
As a researcher and a practical business persons, the first question we ask ourselves when you want to solve a problem is the 5 whys. Why? When? How? Where? Then it takes you to the root cause analysis. Why is Nigeria divided? The first 6 months of our government, we are going to aggressively ensure that we create a country that will come together. We must run a true federal system, and that must reflect in the way we do things, we appoint, in the way we provide support to Nigeria, in the way we interact with Nigeria. For example, I'm from the south, I'm from Edo State. I do not believe that as a country, we must create a special ministry for a particular section of the country and not create for others. For me, I believe Nigeria is a union of 6 wives. What is done to one must be done to all. So I am going to first and foremost ensure that every other region of Nigeria have a ministry that also take care of their region. Yes, we must begin to do that. Then we look at religion also. We must begin to adopt religious leaders into leadership. Also traditional rulers. We today have a country where traditional rulers are like slaves. They can be sacked at any seconds by governors. Many of them cannot even talk. We must dissociate politics from traditional heritage. The people must be the one to choose their leaders, and they are the one to revote if they don't want their leaders. And it must go through a democratic process. We are going to solve every problem that have brought division to our nation by first demonstrating it. Our government would ensure, for example, every appointees in our government must, as a necessity, ensure that they patronize Nigerian school and Nigerian healthcare. Nobody we are going to appoint in my government would ever use a foreign hospital or foreign educational system. We must begin to show that by example. I'm not saying it because I want to be, but I'm saying it because that is how it should be, and that is what we will do to have a one nation. Thank you.
Good evening, Paul.
Thank you very much, sir.
Good evening, everybody here.
To the brief, sir.
Yeah. My question borders on insecurity. I want to ask first of all, do you believe that the Nigerian government as of today are doing very well to secure the territorial borders of Nigeria and also the life and properties of the citizens? Then number 2, what will you do differently the security of Nigeria with specifics, please? Nigeria stays specific at this time. Thank you.
Thank you. First, any candidate that come up to you and say, this is what I would do, 1, to solve the insecurity problem, might not be truthful. The progeny to our insecurity are so many. 1, economic hardship. A country with 133 million people living under poverty can never be safe. So we must quickly provide employment and engage our youth. Very key. Second, we talk about the border control. I mentioned it that we have over 1,400 illegal routes into Nigeria. Since independence, we have not carefully bordered ourselves. We must begin to deliberately man all those. My government, we are going to ensure that we increase the manpower in the security forces. We are going to ensure that we motivate our security personnel. We are going to ensure that we equip them, and we'll begin to fight security with artificial intelligence, not just human intelligence. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much, sister. Thank you, sir. That's the end of the segment. The question and answer segment. Please, a round of applause for the incoming and the prize. Round of applause to the students and the better. Thank you very much. Thank you very much to all the TV stations in the house. We want to say a big thank you to you, to all those who are watching us from everywhere, all over the world. We want to say a big thank you to you. We want you to know that votes are called. And to quickly say it again, it is not a court party. On the ballot paper, what you are going to see is A, which is accord. Please be smart enough. Don't look for AP. look for A. And to all our media houses in the house, we want to tell you it's a card. So when you report in the news, please tell them it's a card, not a card party. Thank you very much. My name is Teresa Adeyemi.
Okay, thank you so much. For those, I can see some hands still up. You can see the prof immediately after this section and to ask further question. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Channels Television. Thank you, MITV Star FM. Thank you, Arise Television. Thank you to all the bloggers in the house. We love you, and we'll say a happy New Year to each one and every one of us. Thank you very much.